Well, guys, let's talk about the state of Maine. Maine is a blue state, but it's not a super far leftist state. It's not California. The state of Maine actually has a Republican senator, Susan Collins, who is trying to run for, I believe, a sixth term as a Republican. Now, guys, in her last election, it was actually predicted, in the polls anyway, that she would actually lose. And then the results came out and she won pretty easily. I believe by like 8 or 9 points. Now, the governor of Maine, Janet Mills, she's actually trying to run in the Democratic primary against a communist named Graham Platner. We talked about him. He's the guy that's a self-admitted communist, but also he seems to like Nazi stuff as well. Remember, he actually had that Nazi tattoo on his chest, and he covered it up after having it for almost 20 years. Why? Well, mainly because of backlash. Backlash. People found out about that tattoo, then all of a sudden he acted like he didn't know what it meant. Nah, I got tattoos. I know what every single tattoo I have means. This guy says he was in the Navy, not in the Navy, he was in the, I don't remember which branch he was in. Doesn't matter really. But he was overseas. I believe he was actually in the Marines though. And he said he got drunk and then he decided to get some tattoos. But he didn't know he was actually getting a Nazi tattoo. Nah, not buying that. Now, he's one of these far leftists, man, because there's definitely a rise of the far leftists in the Democratic Party. I think he's actually going to beat Janet Mills in the primaries. Yes, these communists, these socialists, these far leftists, they can actually win primaries. But when it comes to statewide elections, federal elections, they're going to have a hard time winning votes. I mean, Democrats have been trying to unseat Susan Collins for a long time. But those people in Maine, man, like her. Now, she's not a conservative. She votes with Republicans like, 65% of the time, something like that. She's one of these moderate Republicans. And right now, guys, Graham Platner, he got some bad news, man. Some absolute bad news when it comes to trying to beat Susan Collins. Folks, he's probably not going to do it. Let's get into it. Here we go. Right over here. Graham Platner's online history means he'd lose to Susan Collins, Dem poll warns. Now, we got time until the next election in 2026. But boy, this is a bad sign right here. A very, very bad sign. The Maine Senate race is all but a must-win for Democrats looking to take back the Senate. Yeah, and nobody actually believes that the Democrats are actually going to take the Senate. Now, I believe this guy has a better shot in Maine than Jasmine Crockett does here in Texas. I really hope the Democrats run Jasmine Crockett for the Senate because she will get wiped out. But according to this poll right here, guys, it ain't looking good for him. It says here, Maine Senate candidate Graham Platner's social media history is a major general election liability, a new Democratic polling memo warns. The survey, conducted on behalf of the Democratic group Emity's List and obtained by Politico, finds that most voters wouldn't support Platner over Republican Senator Susan Collins after learning of his past social media posts in which he called himself a communist. Wow. Of course, you know, he's anti-police too as well and characterized white people in rural Maine as stupid and racist. Yeah, but this man wants their votes. He wants their votes. Look at this. When voters are read direct quotes from Platner's since deleted Reddit posts, he loses to Collins by double digits. And in a test of potential campaigning messaging, a positive narrative about Platner that includes his life story as a veteran and oyster farmer, and his apology for the post fails to make up the gap. Before testing a matchup between Platner and Collins, the poll summarizes pro-Platner messaging, including his military service and his promise to, quote, fight the billionaire class and make politics work for regular people, along with likely Republican attacks about the communist label and his comments about police. With that information, Collins leads Platner 51% to 42%, a 9-point lead. But hold on, folks, it gets much worse for him. Look at this. That gap grew to 19 points after voters were provided more quotes from Platner's Reddit posts. And when voters were provided with a lengthy apology response, he only narrowed the gap by 5 points. So, folks, when they found out about what he was actually posting on Reddit, he's getting blown out by almost 20 points. In the apology, only closed it by 5 points. That's it. Wow. The poll did not test how Maine Governor Janet Mills, the other major Democratic challenging Collins, would fare in a general election. Wow. This is bad news, guys. This is really, really bad news for him. Because look at this poll, man. These far leftist men and Janet Mills, you know, she's one of these establishment Democrats that's still far left, by the way. I mean, she's all about the transgenders and women's spaces, by the way. Look at this. This is from the 2026 Maine Senate Democratic primary poll by the National Republican, it's basically Senate Republicans here, on October 22nd. Graham Platner, 46%. Janet Mills, 25%. Wow. And the favorability of Platner, 71% among Democrats. Janet Mills, still positive, but not as much as him. 69% to 31%. Wow. But look here, it says after hearing Platner's statement defending Pastor Marks, 45% said it made them more likely to support him. Wow. This guy's in huge trouble, man. When it comes to the general election, he is in real big trouble. Susan Collins, man, may end up having a landslide in the state of Maine, which is a blue state. This ain't a red state, man. Maine is not Louisiana. It's not Arkansas. It's not Oklahoma, where every single county is a red county. I mean, she may end up putting a blowout like it's a red state. Those people up there in Maine, man, they like her. Some kind of way, man. Susan Collins, man, she just wins up there. Maybe she's just the perfect Republican for that place. Now, I'd much rather have her than a communist. And you know what? Maybe some moderate voters up there in Maine feel the same way. They'd rather have a moderate Republican than a communist Democrat. Boy, these general elections, man, 2026 midterms are going to be huge. And California thinking that they got into the bag now that they passed Prop 50. Now there's going to be other red states, man, that's going to be redistricting as well. So this thing ain't over with yet, man. It's not over with. But as far as Graham Platner goes, he may be cooked. He may be cooked. This is going to be a real test for the far left takeover of the Democratic Party. If they keep going at this rate, man, they won't win the presidency probably for 20, 30 years. Remember, guys, there was a time, man, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, where the Democrats, they couldn't win the presidency at all. Yeah, that was a real thing, man. It was a real thing. So, gonna leave right there, guys. What do you guys make of this here? A blowout for Susan Collins based on this poll. This is bad news, man. The Democratic Party needs to be moderate, but they push the moderates to the side, man. This ain't the 90s Democrats anymore. This is a Marxist-Leninist party, and a communist revolution is here in that party, man. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and White Network fans, Let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we will catch you next time.